Hello everybody, welcome to Programming with Tsatsu. We are still on the journey on how to become a software engineer. This is the third episode where I'm talking about the language of code. Now you have decided on why you want to become a software engineer. You have seen the roadmap as well, whether you want to attend boot camp, whether you want to go to the traditional way, whether you want to become a self-taught person, or whatsoever you want to pick up. After you have picked up that journey, you want to talk about the language of code. What is programming language and why you want to use this programming language? Now, programming languages are languages, right? Or they are terms and conditions. They are rules, sets of instructions that you can talk to the computer in its lowest understanding, that the computer will be able to execute tasks for you. Now, we have programming language, just to mention a few, right? We have the Python, we have the Java, we have the JavaScript, we have the C++, we have the Ruby, which is my favorite, of course. You have the C#, and we have other interesting ones like Rust, like Go, and the rest. So now you want to talk about the language of choice. Now, the language of choice also depends, right? Because you can't say you want to learn Python for front end. I'll talk about in our last but one episode where I'll share with you why you want to pick a language and for which course, right? So popular programming languages, as I mentioned, Python, Java, JavaScript, C++, and Ruby are some of the most popular languages we know out there, right? Each has its strengths and ideal cost of use or the case where you want to use them, right? Now, choosing the right language is very, very, very important. I know people saying that they want to become front-end engineers. Now, basically, software engineering pathway is divided into two. We have the front end and we have the back end. So the front end is somebody who interacts with the web, and the back end is someone who interacts with the server side, right? Look at it this way, like you have gone to a restaurant, you want to buy a food, right? So let me use the popular restaurant that we all know. Let me say we have gone to Kozo restaurant in Ghana here. You want to buy a food. So you go and sit down there. You have a waiter, right? The waiter come to your table or come to your desk, right? And he asks you, what food do you want? He drops the menu for you and you select whatever you want. And the waiter takes your order and goes to the cook and presents your order to the cook. The cook gives you the food, but he gives to the waiter brings it back to you. So that's a typical software. But this time around, it's a physical something you are seeing. But that's a typical software because you as the person, it's like the front end, right? You are interfacing with the API. The API over here is the waiter, right? And the back end is the cook. Whatever happened at the back end, you don't know. At the end of the day, you said you want pizza and they presented you with pizza. Whether the pizza, how they cooked it, you're not interested. All you want is pizza and they have given you the pizza. Yeah, so that's the journey, right? Software, the front end is what you see on the face, on the surface, and the back end is what you don't see. So what you don't see is mostly referring at the back end where we talk to databases and all. I'll talk about that in my other episode and we'll see how interesting that journey is going to look like. So now, choosing the right language. If you're into web development, JavaScript should be your best friend. Web development in a sense that you are into front-end development, right? Because JavaScript has the ability to interface with the web. HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. These three should be your friends. CSS and HTML, they are no programming language, right? CSS is a cascading style sheet, right? It's a style sheet. We apply styles on the skeleton, which is the HTML, right? HTML is a markup language, right? So you want to learn the markup and at the same time you end the language itself, like JavaScript. People have now moved from JavaScript to TypeScript, right? But as a beginner, I want you to familiarize yourself with JavaScript. Then later you want to journey yourself into TypeScript, where you add your types into your normal JavaScript that you are writing. For data science and machine learning, Python should be your go-to. Somebody who is interested in data science and machine learning, Python should be your go-to. Python should be your best friend, your go-to language for that, because Python has a lot of libraries that can help your data science journey and can help your machine learning journey. Some people also use Java for data science. Some people also use Scala for data science, right? But Python should be your go-to, right? So anytime you want to become a backend engineer, you can also use Python. You can use JavaScript. You can use Java. You can use C++. You can use Ruby, right? You can use C#. You can use C. This language should be your best friend when it comes to the backend. Front end, you have to use, remember, I said JavaScript should be your friend at the front end. When you grow into that, then you want to look at frameworks, right? What are frameworks? Frameworks are basically procedures, right? Step-by-step approach for you to solve a problem without repeating yourself. You don't want to repeat yourself again and again. So software engineers be like, okay, people don't want to repeat themselves. Let me create a systematic approach and how to spin up a boilerplate very fast. So that framework. So in the front end of Vue, we have frameworks like React, like framework like Angular, Vue.js, Nest, and the like, right? So you want to use that for your front end stuff. If you go to backend, every language has its own framework. So let's take Python. Python is a programming language. The framework that you could use for Python, you could use Fast API, you could use Flask, you could use Django. I'll talk about this in my other episode, why you need Flask for this, why you need Django for this, and why you need Flask. I've talked about Fast API, I've talked about Django. Why you need them and for which project, why you should use, example, Fast API, why you should use Flask, why you should use Django, right? So that's for Python. If you are doing something like Ruby for backend, you want to have one, which is Ruby on Rails, which is the Rails framework, or you can use the lighter framework like Sinatra. If you're talking about Java, you want to use Spring Boot as a framework to help you program very fast and all, right? So Go is also having its framework and all. But let's talk about this stuff, right? At the end of the day, the fun that trying to write Hello World in a new language each day for a week, that's a fun challenge, right? So you want to pick Python and just start by writing Hello World, right? I'll talk about how you can start programming as well. But this is just a roadmap and the journey how to go. In the next episode, that's episode 4, I'll be talking about building your first project. And that's very interesting. I believe you want to hear that one. I believe you want to know why you have to build your first project. So in episode 4, I'll talk about that. Thank you very much for watching. See you in the next episode.